Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here. I taught a lecture at Sascha's, Henkes master course recently, and that was already a big pleasure, even a bigger pleasure to have a bigger audience here with you guys. So, as Sascha said already, I'm part of a digital marketing agency, and what I prepared for you today is this nice topic here, buzzword bingo deluxe. How to digital transformation in marketing. So when you're looking at different kind of publications online, but also offline, look at conference and so on, you all the time hear about digital transformation. However, it's such a buzzword. You hear it everywhere. Everybody thinks it's something different. So that is actually a good point. Yes, it is a lot of things at the same time, but you need to know what you're talking about. So that's the point why I'm here today, to bring you a bit of insight into digital transformation and how it's affecting marketing purposes. So that's me. Like Sascha said, I'm a senior consultant digital strategy, so I'm looking at the holistic thing of all the kind of different digital channels. I'm with metapeople now for about 2 years. Before I had different stages at advertisers, so companies in the industry, from a corporate level to a medium-sized company, also a startup, so I've seen all the different sizes and the problems that come with it, and then decided to go to the agency because there you can work with a lot more customers and have more impact even. By education, Diplom-Kaufmann, but that's not so much important now for today. In case you want to ping me in any kind of way, you find me almost on every social channel there is. Also on Snapchat, but there not really that much often. But to give you an idea who metapeople actually is before we get really deep into the topic. So we are actually a group. The group is called Artefact, and we are now in a lot of countries, as you can see, mainly in Europe, but also beyond that. So at the moment we are about 1,000 people in this group. In Germany alone, we are about 200, which is one of the biggest places that we have. Actually based in Duisburg, so not that much far from here. What we are offering, also so that you get an idea of that, is you've probably all visited some kind of website and you got to that website not necessarily because you knew how the website was called, but you went to Google, maybe clicked on Google AdWords, or you went to some kind of blog and read something about a certain brand, and there was a link and you clicked on it, maybe that was some kind of affiliate link, or you saw some kind of banner ad or something on Facebook, and then you got to a website in order to perform some kind of task. You bought a product, or you just read something on some kind of, let's say, build.de or something like that. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to push a lot of people to a certain website in order to help that customer that we have to get more users and then use them in order to sell his product or keep them on site in order to sell advertising to other people. Beyond that, we, of course, also have data and analytics in order to measure what is happening in all those places and put that together to a holistic picture, and that's where I come in then with that strategy and innovation part that is kind of around everything, looking at all the different channels, looking how you can combine things, can come up with synergies, also look at the future, look at innovations, how is the market changing in terms of technology, in terms of new approaches, in terms of new user behavior, and how we need to react to that in a way. So that is basically what we're doing and always did. Now with that merger of our parent company together with Artefact, we're doing a little bit more even, so we're running into the direction of artificial intelligence because that's the big platform that will be next. France is pretty much forward with that. They are investing huge amounts of money. Macron is running interviews with all kinds of people and companies. Miss Merkel is a bit behind. But Germany is picking up that as well and investing more and more. So we're going in that direction as well. So all those channels that we drive traffic to websites is becoming just one part out of many, but we're also, again, looking at that overall holistic context, and it's all about data today. So we're looking at, okay, how can we access all this data and then use artificial intelligence in order to make sense of that data, because it's such a huge amount by now, you cannot do that manually anymore. We're running all those kind of things for big customers, especially from the B2C world. You know basically all of them, Deichmann, Deutsche Telekom, Marco Polo, Hertz, you name them. Of course, we also have B2B customers, which most of the time don't want to be named, but that's basically where I'm coming from and what is kind of the background here. So I went over, I hope you can read it even, to start every presentation with a quote of my own. Shouldn't be so big, but in order to set the scene a bit. So to tell you what my goal actually for today is, because I mean, I want to give you added value beyond all the theories that you learn in your studies. So my goal that I picked for today is that I want to make you understand why companies need to change in the way they interact with customers, how they communicate with customers, which channels they use in order to pick up customers, and so on. But I want to start with that a bit bigger in the overall industry to give you an idea why that is so important currently and why you should at least have heard about it without jumping into the details. So I want to set the scene a bit for the other things to come. So what is this? Does anybody know? Oh, come on. That's a thermometer, and that's a thermostat. But the question is, why am I showing you that? The question is, who are you? What is the difference between the two? Anybody an idea? The thermometer is fully reactive. It's looking at the current state of everything and telling you information, what is happening right now. Not more, not less. But on the other hand, a thermostat is fully proactive. It's constantly learning, especially if it's digital, and it sets a standard. When you work with a thermostat, what you're doing is you're programming it in a way to the temperature that you want to have. So what it's doing is it's paying attention to the user need and then delivering what you personally want. That is just a small example of what is happening. And the thing is, when you look at it, the thermometer that I picked here is fully analog, and I did that on purpose. And the Nest here, the Nest thermostat, is fully digital. And that's basically a nice picture of what's going on in the industry. So you have, on the right side, you have the big companies that are setting the standards, like Amazon, like Google, like Facebook, like Netflix, like Apple, and so on, you name them. And the point is they are setting standards in terms of product quality, in terms of service quality, that all the others need to keep up with. So it's not just that they are setting a standard and then you like to prefer to go to Amazon to buy there. No, if you're an Otto, the online shop, the big one, you're really afraid of that. Because if everybody's running to Amazon, then what is your share? If you look at statistics about that, then Amazon is here with their revenue in Germany, and Otto, as the biggest second online shop, is here. So that's just crazy. And that's what you need to keep in mind. So there's a lot going on. So maybe in your studies before, you heard about creative destruction, in German, schöpferische Zerstörung. I don't want to bore you with the details of something. I just want to get you focused on what's going on there, which has been there already ages ago. I mean, Schumpeter, he lived from 1883 till 1950. That's some time ago. And it's not when Amazon was on the market or Facebook or anything, but he already said what's going on in general in an industry. You always need to have some newcomer or a new combination of production factors, which it is actually, if you think from theory, and they come in and they destroy everything. But this is their way. They also make way for a new level of growth, new technologies, new possibilities in the market. And that's what I actually want to go to. So when you look at numbers behind that, and you take a look at really the exact numbers, then these are the top 12 companies according to market capitalization in 2000. 2000 is not that much long ago. It's just 18 years. Might sound longer than it is, but if you look at it exactly, I have to check myself as well again. So there are a lot of companies that you might have heard of, but they are more like classic production companies. You have Exxon Mobil, you have General Electric, you have Pfizer, Citigroup, banks, some software companies, of course. Microsoft was already there, yes, nice. But if now you compare that, here to the top 12 in 2018, just 18 years afterwards, it's Apple, Alphabet, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Tencent, Facebook, Alibaba. It's all digital. It's all digital, and they have the biggest market capitalization ever. And if you compare the numbers even, it's almost double. And if you take another thing into account, 2015 to 2015 to 18, that's just 3 years. That's nothing. If you're running a big corporation and you want to change software systems, it might take you so long because you have legacy systems. Sasha and I discussed that last time, and you need to include so much money in order to change your own software that you built. Let's say you took some SAP, I don't know, 20 years ago, and you customized it all the way, and you cannot just quickly change it. You have the lock-in effect. You cannot change the software. But there's another one, Amazon, that is running ahead of you, who just builds on completely different things. So if you look here, of course you have the same, but look where ExxonMobil was standing in 2015 and where they are now. Within 3 years. 3. 1, 2, 3. Not so much. So that is actually the reason why I brought you this topic, digital transformation for marketing. Yes, you learn a lot about marketing, about models, about how to work with surveys and find out customer behavior and how to build nice messaging and so on and so on. All right, all important, no clue. That's not the point. But if you're looking at your own business, just imagine, let's say Otto or any kind of brand, let's say Marco Polo or Deichmann or whoever, you're working there now. You're the CEO of the company. What do you need to think about? You need to think about 2 things at all times. How do I run my daily business? And how do I want to run my future business in order to survive? Because if you think about it, and that's actually the topic that we also discussed about, Sasha, this ambidexterity thing, talking from academia, it's like the daily business, the exploitation, and the future business, the exploration. There you see crazy academia coming into practice, actually. So this is really important, because if you think about it, if you want to be innovative, you need money, you need cash. Because innovation is expensive. You need to try a lot of things in order to see what works. But to find what works costs you a lot of money on the way, because not everything works immediately. So basically, what you need to find is the perfect balance between your daily business, where you make the money, and the future business that you want to build, where you spend the money on. But now the question is, and that is actually being discussed in academia a lot, so what is the perfect balance and what is the perfect rhythm? Do I first focus on my daily business, do everything that I can in order to make as much money as possible, in order then to step up and try to improve my future business and use that money? But that brings the disadvantage that in the meantime, maybe, like I said, Amazon is running ahead and then you're out of the market. So what's the advantage then when you're running this kind of iterative approach? So what you need to think about, how do I run this thing? How much money do I put into this future business exploration, or how much money do I put or try to get from my daily business? So that's basically what you have to think about. Where do I put this thing in the middle, right? So that's what you need to think about. But the thing is, that's a bit short-sighted. I think it's still what academia is talking about, isn't it, Sasha? Like how you balance exploration and exploitation in order to get ahead, isn't it?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think you need to see it a tiny bit different, because I don't think that you need to find a perfect balance or so. In today's world that is so fast and accelerating so fast, you need to work differently. So you need to transform both at the same time. That's my approach to that, and that's also an approach from some consultants from InnoSight that published a really nice book called Dual Transformation that has been published by Harvard University Press. So that is a pretty interesting approach. Because if already your daily business is running so fast that you need to keep up in order to even get the money in order to run those explorative, innovative approaches, then you cannot just focus on one or the other, or a bit more on the one, bit more on the other. You basically need to run everything at the same time. And how do you do that? You try to get your customers to do what is perfect for them, which means buy your product. But that means you need to interact with them across their own customer journey, so all the touch points that you might have with your brand on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, checking out their mobile, whatever it is, you need to be there in this whole ecosystem, in all those kind of channels. You need to find the perfect way. How much money do I spend on Facebook? How much on Instagram? Do I maybe do a bit of print as well? Do I do TV? Yes, no, maybe. Do I actually have the money to run TV? It's so much that you need to think about. And then the thing is, a lot of people think about, okay, so everything's about digital marketing. I need to shift all my budget into online marketing, then everything will be fine and I will be safe. But they are not thinking far enough. Because if you think about it, digital marketing is nothing else but marketing in a digital world. And that's the point. Marketing has not changed. Never has. Marketing was always about product, price, place, promotion. Create a great product that people love, that fills their needs, do it for a reasonable price that makes both parties happy, distribute it in some way, no matter if it's offline or online or which channel you ever choose, and then use promotion in order that people even know about your product. So that's actually what's happening. I know that there are a lot of different models by now about the 4 Ps, and there are like 7 Ps or 8 Ps. You have process, performance, and whatnot. But the point is the general idea behind it. The marketing is not changing. Because when you think about from the English term marketing, what it actually meant before Germans, in our case, picked it up and made something out of it, marketing means you are looking at the market. Everything you're doing with your whole company is market-driven. Whatever the market is doing, you kind of react to and deliver what the market wants. That is basically marketing. It's not selling. Selling is another point, but it's often integrated, especially by now when it's online, you sometimes cannot really distinguish it anymore. But so if you say marketing has not changed, it's all the time the same, then this is what is coming out of it. You still need to offer the right product. And what is the right product? The one that the user likes. Easy so far. And if you think about it again, Peter Drucker, a management thinker that is also dead already, he also said the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself. Because then you don't even need to sell him anymore. That is actually your goal. Don't sell anymore. Don't push into the market. Let the people grab your product until it's sold out and everybody's queuing in front of an Apple store because they want to have the new iPhone. That is what you want to do. So if you take it really easy in today's digital world, in order to follow Peter Drucker, what do you have to do? You just analyze the data, all the data that you can get anywhere. You take the first-party data from your website, your Google Analytics, your social channels, whatever you can get. You get second-party data from partners. Maybe you're part of the payback program, and you get information from other partners. You buy third-party data in order to enrich the own data that you have, in order to get even more insights, make more connections. Let's say you want to sell cars, and you want to know if people that are accessing your website are the people that are interested in a Ferrari but cannot afford it. They are just interested, what is the new model? Oh, looks great, I want to have it one day. Yeah, but one day is not important for Ferrari. They want to have you to buy it now. So how can they determine it if they don't even know you? They can, for example, buy third-party data from ImmoScout, let's say, and find out in which areas you're trying to buy a house. And according to what kind of house you want to buy, they can kind of guess, at least based on statistics, how much income or net worth you have. And then they can calculate, is it probable that you, if you're living in the worst part of Bochum, let's say, that you are able even to buy a Ferrari? Does it make sense for me to spend money on whatever digital channel in order to show you more and more about Ferrari? And will there a sale be in the end? That's the question, but that's what you need to find out. So analyze all your data and then target those people. If you know that there are certain people who are interested in cars, in fancy cars, high-priced cars, and they are even able to buy those cars, Yes, then find those people online. Find them on Facebook, find them on Google, find them everywhere you can and show them your message. Because that's actually what you want. You want to have the customer see you as often as possible without being on his nerve. That's why you also have something called frequency cap, so you can really determine how often somebody should see a banner per day, for example. So he will see it often enough, so he recalls your brand, and you maybe get into his evoked set when he's getting into some kind of buying circle. Let's say he wants to buy a car, and then he should think about you. That's what you actually want. And that's what you try to do. Or if you know that you have a product that was sold on your web shop, and by analyzing your data, you find out that most people that buy your product, whatever that might be, are male, above 50, medium income, whatever. Then what you can do is you can take those data, go online and try to find people who almost look like those people. Because then you know that you have a high probability that they will buy as well. And still you reduce the cost of your marketing in a way. So that's the right product, the one that you like, so target the right people. Next thing is, where should I get the people? I don't know where they are. But the thing is today, it's not about that much easy anymore that you just take a radio spot or a TV spot, especially TV, when you have second or third screen running, you have your iPad lying next to you on the couch, you play with your smartphone, and at the same time you're watching Bachelor in Paradise or whatever it is. And then the thing is, you want people to grab them there where their attention is. And if their attention is on Snapchat, then get them there. And that's a really nice case study that is here. German army is getting less and less recruits. But they need people to serve the country, maybe go to war in case something happens. But how do they reach people who would be interested to work at the German army? So that's their issue that they have. It's not selling a product, it's not gaining leads, it's not keeping people on a website, it's actually they want more recruits. And what they were doing is pretty nice. They went to Snapchat and to YouTube and to Facebook Messenger. So all those new things, good old German Bundeswehr, went to all those fancy new channels, which some companies don't even do, because they knew that's where their recruits are. If you look at how old the recruits for German army are, they are aged 17 to 25. So where are they? They are on Snapchat. They are watching YouTube. So what they were doing is, they were coming up with some kind of social TV about how they are running their operations in Mali, or how it looks like when you're a new recruit, and how your education at the German army will run, and all those kind of things. And they were really, really successful with it. When you look at those numbers here, 2.1 million unique filter users, and so on and so on. So they did everything right. So just to take another example where you are, it's not just about pushing stuff to you, it's also about pulling you somewhere. So where do you search today? What's your search engine of choice? Google? Somebody else? You're all searching on Google? I don't believe that. No way. So it might be Google, yes, but I don't think that you always search on Google. What about YouTube? When you're looking for how-to videos, YouTube is another way of search engine. Just because it's not called Google or it belongs to Google, it's still a different search engine for a different thing. You might look at Pinterest. You want to have a wedding, but you don't know what your wedding dress should be. So you're going to Pinterest and get some inspiration. It's also a way of searching for some kind of information. Maybe not information that you need for your studies, maybe not information about the topic that is interesting you in your private things or so, but still, it's a different search. It's some kind of a visual search in that way. If you're more coming into business, you might search on LinkedIn for people and information and what's going on. If you look for a new job or so, what kind of companies are there, how many employees do they have job openings, and so on and so on. And Amazon as well, think about that. I don't believe that every one of you is going to Google if they want to buy a product and look for a certain product. I don't believe that. Plain and simple. I can promise you that the biggest part of you will go to Amazon directly, look for a product there, even if they don't want to buy it at Amazon in the end, but because they have the biggest choice of products, and because they have the recommendations from people where they can at least get some kind of idea if they want to buy that product in the end or not. And of course, there are other search engines as well. So in the end, it really depends what you want, where you go, so where your attention is. Because when you look at, for example, US numbers, where people go when they are looking for product information, Amazon is the #1 player. Of course, Google is catching up a bit, and you have other platforms as well, but they are going to Amazon, and I don't think that it's so much different in Germany. So another thing, when you have the right product and the right place where you can target the people, does it help you if somebody is commuting to uni all the time to try to sell him a car, even if he might need it because he would get faster to your university if he's not taking the A40? And because it's more convenient, especially with the temperatures outside now, it's so warm, you want to have your air condition, you want to be alone, not with smelly people in some kind of train. But still, you wouldn't reach anything. Because the person, although it might be a good idea to have a car, they might not be interested in it right now in this moment. Now, they are going home, taking the train, and there's something that they don't like about it. Maybe they're sitting again next to a smelly person, and they said, enough is enough, now it's over, I need a car. So that's where the process basically starts. And then you should be there. And that's what Google calls, I want to know moments, I want to go moments, I want to do moments, or I want to buy moments. You need to be there when it's interesting for the end consumer, because then he will pay attention to you. And attention is all you want to get. Because once you have people's attention, then you can try to market to them and show them what you have to offer. If you don't have their attention, nothing will happen anyway. So if you pick the right timing even, and the person wants to buy your product, then it's still maybe not the perfect timing, because of course, when I decide to buy something, I want it right now. I want to have it right now. Do you go to Prime? Amazon Prime? Is this where you get your product the fastest? What do you think? Is that the fastest way to get a product? Amazon Prime? Exactly. Going direct to the store is what happens. So if you look at the numbers here again, consumers search for a variety of local information. They look at business hours, directions to a local store, the address of a local store. So why are they doing that? Because they want to buy something. And that's what they do when they are searching local. So that's where also some attention is shifting. They might get informed by Amazon, but then if they want to have it right now, if you're such an Apple fan, and you want to have the product right now, and it's maybe not available on Amazon already, and maybe the telecom store has run out of the iPhones, then what do? You want to go to MediaMarkt or Saturn, let's say, because you want it right now. And then you're searching for those guys. And again, you need to be there. If they want to be local because they want the product right now, you need to be there. And people are even willing to do that. If they are close to the store, know that they can get the product quickly because they know the store has it in stock, and maybe even a bit better for pricing. Either because, let's say, the Bose store in Düsseldorf is matching the price of online, or they're even offering something cheaper, price of the day, whatever, then why should I buy with Amazon? I get the same product, I maybe even get a better price, or at least the same. I get it immediately. So that's where you can go then. So when you think about it, marketing is not changing, has never changed. Just the environment where marketing is acting, that is changing. So once you have the general marketing mindset, looking at your customer, being customer-centric, thinking about what they need, how you can make them happy, then that's all you need. Because consumer behavior and technology are changing all the time anyway. And you cannot do anything about it. Even if you're Amazon or Google or whoever, you cannot change what is going on in consumer behavior or technology. Sorry for that, I just need to drink. So if the consumer behavior and the technology are changing all the time, the customer interaction needs as well. Because the customers suddenly are not anymore there where you experienced them to be or where you expected them to be. It's changing. You need to analyze this. We talked about it. So when you think about it, that's a nice quote from Bill Gates. We always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. So that's actually the point. Everybody's thinking, oh, virtual reality, that's the next big thing. We have to invest in it. Augmented reality, that's also such a big thing. We need to be there right now. Do you think the market is ready for that? I don't think so. Of course, the technology needs to start at some point, but you still have the typical technology curve. Let me see if I can bring that thing down. So, this is how technology is running. Here you have the early adopters that maybe develop the theory, develop the products, but it's not ready for the market yet because the market might not even have understood what the product is good for. Did you ever think about why Amazon put so much budget into TV advertising recently? Did you reflect what they were showing there? Nobody had a clue why they would need an Amazon Echo with Alexa. If I can set a timer with it, hooray, I can do that in 2 seconds with my phone as well. If I can ask for the weather forecast, okay, I can do that in 3 seconds with my smartphone. So why do I need this product? Push and pull thinking. So what Amazon did was they were using lots of money to push TV advertising to you so that you understand what you can use the product for. They were showing all kinds of use cases. When you say, Alexa, Alexa, turn the light to blue, and you have a small kid and you want to play with them that you're swimming in the sea, then that's nice. You suddenly have blue lights, you think you're in the sea, your kid, maybe 3, 4 years old, is so happy because they think they're a fish or whatever. The girl that is coming home late at night, 12:30, but mother said, you should be home at 12, and mother doesn't even need to get up anymore, just says, Alexa, what time is it? It's 12:30. Okay, I see. Get you tomorrow. So that's what's happening. Show the people what they can use the product for in order they start to think about it, even more use cases, how they can use it, and then you get the sales on. Because then you're slowly getting here. The people who don't know what they want to use the product for suddenly get the point, and they start buying it. And they buy it and buy it. And they recommend it to their friends because it's so cool. You don't have to go to the kitchen anymore to ask the timer how long a piece of meat still needs to stay in the oven. Of course, you also have people who are pretty late in the process, who are the laggards, but they still buy it sometime. And then you have the people, maybe older, who don't even know what digital is or a smartphone. But even they will buy it sometime. It's just a lot later. Let's say that 2 years or whatever, you name it. And that's what happens with every technology. So some people are thinking that virtual reality take everything in the next 2 years, which I don't think. But still, you need to think about what kind of impact that might have for your business kind of long term. It might not even be 10 years. It might be already in 4 years. But still, you need to think about it now. If there's a new kind of Amazon for a different business that is suddenly coming around and killing you because they thought about this whole business and about the user needs in a completely different way. So that's what might happen. And if they are then as crazy as Amazon's Jeff Bezos anyway, that they say, fuck profit, sorry the wording, but what Jeff Bezos is doing, he's running an empire. And how can he do that? He's just not thinking about profit. So if you just make revenue, reinvest all your revenue all the time, you get bigger, bigger, and all the people who try to get at least a tiny bit of profit in order to do whatever, they will lose big time. And that's what's going on. If you think about what's the Jeff Bezos empire, it's way beyond Amazon. What he's owning, what you just probably don't know. He's even owning a space company similar to Virgin Galactic. Nobody knows, but it's still belonging to Jeff Bezos. So when you look at the different things that are happening in the environment, there are changes all the time. Digital came big time. 2016, digital was already becoming more important than everything else. If you look at the numbers here, digital will become the biggest thing by 2020, big time. Because here you had TV bigger, now you get digital bigger, but also pay attention to the numbers and the market size and what digital is taking on. Of course you still need TV. Amazon Echo is the best example. You still have the biggest reach, where you can get people in a passive way when they never heard about your product and it never occurred to them to even think about if they would need an Echo. You need to grab them somewhere where you're still paying at least a tiny bit of attention. So you've had digital first. What was the next one? Mobile first. Everybody was talking about, oh my God, you need to change your website to make it smartphone ready. 2016. Globally. It's 2018 now. That was 2 years ago already. Of course, that is not true everywhere. If you look at it, that's just a global number. And even in Germany, it didn't hit each other yet. And there will always be desktop because if you think about it, you're working in an office, you have so much things to do at once, you prefer to work on a bigger screen. So with your desktop PC. Of course, there can be a laptop, but anyway, it's still a desktop. And you might need to work with 2 screens at the same time, so you're definitely not working with a small device. But still, if you think about it, how consumer behavior has changed, you have your smartphone everywhere. Even I have it now in my pocket. Not because I need it right now, but it's just there all the time. It's just an arm's length away from you all the time, basically. It's lying next to your bed. It's the direct access to anything you want to buy or to read or whatever. You can do it at any time. Another thing, Messenger first. Who cares about Facebook anymore? If you look at Facebook, Facebook has become a pure news stream, when in the beginning it was more really like a social network, where people were connecting with their friends and family and sharing pictures to show where they are on vacation. Yes, that is taking place now as well. But if you look at the bigger numbers, a lot less. A nice example is actually what the former head of digital of Pro7 told me about Germany's next top model. That's a really nice example. They have 1 million followers on Facebook, but nothing is happening. No likes, no engagements, no shares, nothing. So what does it help Germany's next top model to have a 1 million people audience on Facebook? Doesn't get them anything. But they need to keep it in order to shift people from that channel to other channels. So they are setting foot on WhatsApp. They are keeping people, fans of Germany's next top model, informed via WhatsApp, and they have an engagement rate around 99%. 99. That is basically you interact with every single person that has an interest in Germany's next top model and is running on WhatsApp. And why? Because it's natural by now. Look at those numbers. I mean, it's global, yes. But if you put messengers together with social media, yeah. 3 out of top 5 social networks are messengers. And talking about the big guys setting the standards, 4 out of 5 are belonging to Facebook. That's what you should think about. WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Facebook Messenger, that's all Facebook behind. So that's why also they are laughing so much now with the new data protection guidelines, the GDPR, because they say, we're a walled garden. We have a login anyway. We know everything about every user anyway. So now maybe they make the advertising more expensive. I mean, the funniest thing was anyway when Mark Zuckerberg had to speak in front of Congress in the US, and a senator was asking him, "You're offering everything for free. How can that be?" And Mark Zuckerberg was standing there, "Ads?" That was pretty nice, right? So people that even in the US Congress don't get the point what's going on in the world right now. And now it's shifting even more. I mean, now you're going to those kind of things like Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. This is a quote of Werner Vogels, the Chief Technology Officer of Amazon, who said a really good thing. If you think about it, all computer interfaces until now have been designed for communication with a computer, but not with humans. When you're taking your desktop and you're going to Google, how do you ask Google a question? Weather, Bochum, next weekend. Is that human language? Would you ever ask a friend a question in that kind of robotic way? You would never do that. It's not natural. Could a newborn toddler understand that and communicate with Google like this? No way. But what is the most natural thing, how people can communicate even when they are just 4 years old? Their voice, spoken language. And that's a human interface, not a computer interface. So just to give you an example how that can look like, our colleagues from France built a Google Home skill for our customer Monoprix. That's kind of like the German Rewe or Edeka. And they said, okay, if I want to create a shopping list, I can write everything. I can type it into an app in order to remember it later when I'm in the store, or I can talk to this Google Home and tell it, I need eggs, I need milk, and then we even put some artificial intelligence in and said, okay, so let this artificial intelligence behind that virtual assistant understand what you're trying to build there. The assistant knows from historic data that every second weekend you're baking a cake and you're going out to buy all the ingredients that you need for a cake. Milk, eggs, wheat, whatever. Not that kind of wheat. Flour, okay. But the point is, if you're missing something, the artificial intelligence is recognizing that you're missing something and is telling you in that sense here, did I forget something? I know what you need. Tomatoes or eggs or whatever it is. And it even helps you to pick your mind up and fulfill your shopping list. And then this one was connected to an app, so when you're in the store, you still have your smartphone with you, you just check the app of Monoprix and you have your shopping list in there. So that helps the user. It's added value for the user, and so they use it. But if you think about it, like I said, everybody has a smartphone by now. You can see it with those numbers. The acceleration of change, how fast people buy more smartphones, is decreasing. It's getting slower and slower. Basically, everybody on Earth who can afford it or is somewhere where you have some kind of network and can operate a smartphone is having a smartphone. But that, on the other hand, means you can basically reach anybody at any time. Anytime. And as most of them even have a quite new smartphone, they're also voice-enabled. They can talk to you or the assistant. And even the voice-first devices like a Google Home, like an Amazon Echo, they are picking up as well, of course, not as fast. And already in 2016, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, said in 2016, 20% of all the mobile queries that you run on your smartphone are already done by voice because it's just easier, right? That was 2016. The bad thing is Google doesn't give you new numbers. Every time I ask somebody from Google, by the way, do you have a new number for me? How many mobile queries are running on voice? I cannot tell you, sorry, not allowed. So nobody knows what's actually going on there. But not only the smartphones have a big reach where you can reach people. Also those voice devices that are standing in your home are gaining traction. If you look at it, 2011, Siri came out. There was one possibility to use voice towards some kind of brand or device. And then it picked up 4 devices in 2 years, 10 devices in 6 months, and on and on. So it's getting faster. And the thing is, the voice race is on. Now the big guys setting the standards are not so much paying attention to fight all the small guys, like an Otto, which is not even that small. They have enough trouble to fight themselves. So now suddenly, and no matter if it's voice devices or if it's really the assistant behind it, suddenly Amazon fighting against Microsoft, fighting against Google, fighting against Siri, fighting against Alibaba, fighting against Samsung, maybe not so much because Bixby didn't catch up so much, the assistant of Samsung. But that's what's going on. And you can already see the first effects in the market as well. For example, Amazon partnered with Microsoft, which was probably coming more from the Microsoft side because Amazon has big reach anyway. But now Jeff Bezos said, okay, let's combine the capabilities that Microsoft has. They are the first company to name if it's about office, about organization, about tasks, about reminders. They are the number one. And Amazon is the number one in shopping. So they are connecting forces now. So when you're talking with your Alexa, you can also ask her, hey, what's next on my calendar? So they are fighting big time against Google. The only advantage that Google has there is they have a lot more years of artificial intelligence research in the pocket that they can work with. Okay, let's forget about the HomePod for a moment. I don't think that will happen so much. So who wins the race? Nobody knows. Everybody's fighting about it, but you never know what's going to happen. But if you look at those numbers here from the big venture capital firms, they say, okay, when it comes to devices, for 2021, still Amazon is leading. And it's leading all the way until then. When you look at assistants, on the other hand, that's something you need to differentiate. You have the devices, those kind of things that you put in your home. And on the other hand, you have the assistant, kind of the person that you talk to, either in the device or on your smartphone or whatever. There they say, Google is picking up. So you still cannot say who's winning the race. Although for Google it makes sense, because if you think about it, probably most of you are running on an Android smartphone, on a Samsung smartphone. So if you're running on Android, you're automatically running on Google. And if you're having Android, you have the Google Assistant pre-installed. Not like on an iPhone where you first need to install an app in order to have the Google Assistant. So that's where the fight is going on. And that Amazon is the number one big time in shopping, at least in Western countries, and is leading with his voice technology, fits fully into their strategy. That's what Jeff Bezos wants. He wants to have the Earth's biggest store. And that's his strategy. That's the exact strategy that Jeff Bezos wrote on a napkin to explain to somebody the strategy of Amazon, how they grow like crazy, and how everything fits together. It's so simple, if you think about it. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to think about, okay, lower prices are good for customers because then they will buy more. A better customer experience makes it also easier. Once I get a better customer experience and lower prices, more people come to my site. If you think about Amazon is kind of divided into the classic Amazon vendor business where they sell products with their own name, and the Amazon marketplace where people can sell on the Amazon platform, and that is what is meant here. The more traffic Amazon as a platform has, the more people want to sell on their marketplace because they know they can reach more people, which they have to pay to Amazon for. And then you have more selection as an Amazon by running your own distribution, running your own planes, not being dependent on DHL or UPS or whatever anymore. You have synergies, you have lower cost structure, and on the circle goes. And suddenly you're Earth's biggest store. That's what Jeff Bezos wants. And he even says himself, if you make things easier, people will do more of it, no matter what it is. So easy. So just make things easy. So because of when it's easy, I will do it. I mean, you know it for yourself, right? What he's aiming at is a frictionless interaction. Put as little as possible things in the way of the user for the thing that he wants to do. Ideally, shop at Amazon. So what did they do? They came up with Amazon Echo and the Echo Dot and more echoes and more echoes and more echoes. Even more echoes. In the US, there are even more, but those are the ones available in Germany. And the thing is, what does he reach with that? Suddenly, you have an echo in every room of your house. And as the connection between Amazon and your voice is even faster than grabbing into your pocket and doing 2 clicks on a smartphone, that's frictionless compared to taking your smartphone out and even just taking 2 clicks, no matter for what. If you want to buy something, it's definitely more clicks. So last year, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, one of the big places where tech happens, the number one thing that you heard everywhere works with Alexa, because that was another smart move of Jeff Bezos. He said, okay, if we have our own echoes, that's nice, and we reach people in all their homes in case everybody's buying one and putting one, or more even, putting one in every room of their home, but what are we doing in between? Let's open up the ecosystem and let's offer it to everybody that you can build your Alexa in an LG fridge, that you can build it in a BMW, which is, by the way, coming live middle of this year. So in case anybody needs a BMW with Alexa, just wait till the middle of the year and buy it then. Because then you have latest technology in there, and as I said, combined with Microsoft, you have everything connected to you. And that's again a circle that Jeff Bezos is focusing on. Because if you create a service that people use, you get more data. And the more data you have about customers and their behavior and how they are interacting with your devices and your assistants, the smarter you get. The smarter your algorithm gets. What you want to offer people as a product, when to offer it. And then we are again with that marketing point that I said in the beginning. Right product, right place, right time. That's what you get from it. And then you can get closer to that goal, becoming the world's biggest store. Although Jeff Bezos is saying, okay, but Alexa is primarily about identifying tasks in the household that would be improved by voice. I know he's focusing on home automation, about playing music, about all those kind of things. Also ordering consumables, like diapers for your kid or something like that. But that's exactly the thing. If it comes to the shopping, things again get interesting, especially from a marketing perspective. Because every retailer by now needs a voice strategy. Because, I will tell you in a minute why that is important. And by the way, voice strategy is so important because it goes beyond marketing, beyond sales, into product management. The way you build your product portfolio has an influence how much you're able to sell on those devices. I'll tell you why. If you look at Amazon right now, you can do it live if you want to, and you look for a toaster. So you're searching on Amazon for toaster. So you have a huge amount of toasters that you can pick from. Of course, you have a certain things that are having a batch bestseller, but then it's strange that you suddenly, for a toaster, you have 2 bestsellers. Reason is, one bestseller category toaster, one category bestseller Brotbackautomaten. Great, but then you have more bestsellers. And you also have Amazon's Choice. And when you mouse over on that button, you will see for what it is Amazon's Choice. And in that case, when you look for toaster, this toaster is Amazon's choice for you to give you a toaster. What most people don't know, Amazon's choice means if you're talking with Alexa and you want to buy a toaster, this is what comes out when you're asking Alexa for a toaster. And oh my God, it's an Amazon Basics toaster from Amazon. More profit. So when you're looking at marketing again, what is important is, what should people say? They're not looking for a toaster, they are looking for a WMF toaster. That's what you want if you're WMF. They should get this one at least. Even if that's maybe not your highest margin product that you have, but at least it's not an Amazon Basics toaster. That's where it's going, right? And in case no Amazon's Choice is available, that's important, Prime. So be listed on Prime. And that's what you need to think about, because those Amazon's Choice things, they are determined on how good is your product rated, how expensive is your product, is it ideally pretty cheap, and how do people rate it with the stars. And that's how you get there. And that's what I mean if you think about your whole product. Ideally, you don't have that much products anymore. What you want is people telling your brand name when they are looking for a certain category. When you're looking for handkerchiefs, you want to tell Alexa, give me tempos. That's what you want, not just any kind of Amazon Basics, whatever things. If you want to have a toaster, they should say WMF. And there we get to the classic marketing. What you need is a brand. And how do you create brand? Not necessarily digital. Then you're with the TV again. TV, print, radio, whatever. People need to know you as a brand. Then ideally you don't have a crazy amount of products so people can remember what they want to buy from you and articulate it. So no crazy, fancy product names that nobody can ever remember. If you go to like those chips that you eat when you are at the cinema or so. Push people on TV that they say, Alexa, get me Cheerios. Use a product name. Use some kind of wording that people remember, that sticks to their head, that stays in their evoked set, and then when it's important, then they recall you and they want just you. By the way, it's almost like this in dating, right? You want to stay on top of mind, and then when it's important that you need a partner, then you want them to remember you. So, but the underlying issue in this whole context is as well, do you really want to work with Amazon, or do you want to work against them? Do you even have a choice? So for example, David Kahan, CEO of Birkenstock, I mean, you all know them, he said, we don't sell on Amazon. It's crazy. Amazon is pushing our margin down. I've seen that in real life. They're trying to get your numbers down, because that way you help them to be the bigger platform. Because where do you go when you want to have a good price? You go to Amazon. And how does Amazon reach that? Pushing all the brands that are selling there. So Birkenstock already said we don't sell there anymore. But now it's getting interesting. What is Amazon doing when brands are not selling there? They're saying, okay, Wild Wild West. It's a white space on the map. So we fill it ourselves. We bring our own products. We build our own brands. And this one here takes a while, huh? It's just a part of all the Amazon private label brands that belong to Amazon but not have Amazon in their name. So if you buy anything from those brands, you're buying directly from Amazon with all the margin on Amazon. That's what's happening. And if you want to get, let's just skip back here. If you want to be a bestseller in order to be Amazon's choice, how do you do that? In order to reach there, you stop selling on your own online shop. You push all the traffic, all the people that want to buy your product, you push them to Amazon in order to get a higher Amazon rating, in order to have a better chance that your product can even be sold on Amazon. So whatever you're doing, deliverable, shipping over Amazon gets profit for Amazon, but not for you. Putting all your traffic to Amazon gets Amazon better, but not you. All those kind of things. It's almost like WeChat in China. When you're running on WeChat now, you're trying to find any kind of format in order to communicate to people where their attention is, which is on WeChat. But in fact, what you're doing with that is you're making WeChat bigger, the brand WeChat. You make their market capitalization better, but not your own. And that's in general the thing that is happening right now. You have the really big guys that set the standards, that are the huge giants, like the GAFA or GAFA-X, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and some more, maybe Microsoft or some. GAFAM would be, or however you name it, you find different words for it. That's what's happening. And if you're not one of them, you better get prepared and better take digital really, really serious, and you act fast. You really need a transformation. And in order to get back to what I said in the beginning, that's where most people are. You're a thermometer. And you want to compete with a thermostat? Good luck. So what you need, at least become a digital thermometer in the meantime, before you become a thermostat. That's what's going on there. Thank you.